Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our Share Admin training. We're here on the Customer Success Management team and are happy to go over the ShareFile setup, best tricks, and tips today. Before we get started, depending on the licensing that you purchased, the tool may be called Content Collaboration, Citrix Files, or even ShareFile. The tool features are all the same, but just to avoid confusion as we're going through the presentation, we will use all three namings. We also have added our reference guide, so as we go through the slide deck today, you'll note that the reference guide is listed as a resource on the control panel here within GoToWebinar. So all the linked material that we go through today, you'll have access to even after the session today. We will also be taking questions throughout the presentation, so as you have questions, please enter them into the questions box also on your GoToWebinar control panel. You'll be able to enter in questions as we go, but we'll wait until the end of the presentation to go through all of the questions then. Feel free to ask for us to deep dive any of the features or even ask a question about a topic that maybe we haven't touched. We'll be more than happy to re-review or deep dive into that feature. For today's session, our presenters are Megan DeKramer, Senior Program Manager of Customer Success, Kruti Karsane, Senior Product Manager of Admin Experience, and our technical guru, Jose Yulico, Customer Success Manager in the Americas. So let's go over the agenda. First, we'll go over account setup, locating the welcome email and sign-in. We'll also go over your personal settings, security features, and also our prerequisite checklist that you'll want before implementing the tool. After, we'll go to features inside the tool, so admin settings and your folder structure. And then we'll go into creating employee users and creating clients. We'll finish up the presentation going over reporting and then also our ShareFile migration tool. Account setup. All right, Jose, ready to go through our account setup?
Hi, Megan. Yes, thank you. So first things first, the admin of the account should be receiving a welcome email, and this is the initial email that ShareFile sends to the account owner or administrator. Depending on the version that you guys have, you should see something like this. But the important thing is that the account administrator should just click on Activate ShareFile in order to activate the account and start using ShareFile. Now, in case that you ever need assistance on activating your account or you misplace the email, you can always refer to the resource available in order to get assistance. For the login page, what you should know is that all you have to do will be to enter just your email address and the password that you set up once you activated your account. And in the case that you forgot your password, you can always click on the Forgot Password link, which is down below the Sign In button, which will then allow you to enter the email address that you use for registration, and then you will be receiving the instructions on how to reset your own password for ShareFile there on that email address. Now, personal settings.
Perfect. I'm glad to go through personal settings. So our personal settings, we have 5 different settings. We have Edit Your Profile, which is where you can go and easily change your password. You can update your email address and even update email notifications. We also have Personal Security. So this is where you can update your 2-step verification for your phone or any device, mobile device that you have to provide an extra layer of security. We also have connectors and advanced connectors, where connectors allow you to connect to other additional cloud service tools. Then finally, we have My Apps and Devices. You can lock a user account on any device to prevent this user from accessing the ShareFile data within your account. This is very important for security. So speaking of security, let's then go into security features.
Thanks, Megan. So let's talk a little bit about security. One of the pillars that we continuously build upon with ShareFile is security. We believe that securing data is critical to every business, whether that be a small business or an enterprise. Hence, building security with intention is a responsibility taken seriously by our team. Here are some quick ways that we add a layer of security to our tools. So the first one is, if you're in a specific industry that requires compliance, we have the ability to provide you with a HIPAA, FINRA, or CFPB compliant ShareFile account. The second one is that all of our data centers are SOC 2 compliant and SSAE 16 compliant. Number 3 is we strive to maintain the 3 nines uptime so that your day-to-day business operations do not get interrupted due to lack of availability. 4, we provide storage recovery around the globe. And then 5, we support TLS 1.0, 1.1, and 1.2. These are some encryption protocols and algorithms used by e-commerce services and online banking. In addition, we store your at-rest data with AES 256-bit encryption. As we just reviewed, with growing concerns about data security, particularly in regulated industries such as healthcare and finance, protecting how you communicate and share files with clients isn't something to take lightly. Security can seem almost commoditized these days, expected even, but encryption isn't just for files these days. With ShareFile, you can encrypt the body of an email message and all attachments with one click, right from Microsoft Outlook or any web browser. With this all-in-one encrypted email solution, you can streamline communication and simplify the way you handle your sensitive data or protected data. It's secure file sharing taken to the next level. Here are 2 ways ShareFile makes encrypted email easier. 1, encrypted email within Microsoft Outlook, and then 2, encrypted email from any browser.
Thank you, Kruti. So now let's talk about what are the ways that ShareFile gives to the administrators in order to manage that security. First, we have the option to set the password settings, which will basically allow you as an administrator to set a minimum password length, the quantity of numbers that you would require, and even quantity of special characters that might be required. You can also set up the expiration time in days for the password to work, and then the quantity of previous unique passwords that you will allow on the account. At the bottom, you will have a summary of all of these password policies that you have just applied to the account. So another of the security settings are the login and security settings. We have there the trust domains, two-step verification, and trusted device. The trust domains is basically a simple way to allow requests between your own websites and ShareFile to be enabled. Two-step verification is going to give you the flexibility to set policies for a specific user group to use the two-step verification process and provide an extra layer of security on your account. And trusted device will allow you to have clients avoiding entering many verification codes because it will simply just ask to trust this device. Also, we have the account locked out configuration, which is going to allow you to set your own policy for managing multiple failed login attempts. Terms and conditions, which will allow you to prompt your users to accept ShareFile terms and conditions. And if you want to enable this feature, please reach out to our support team. And we also have the IP restrictions, which will allow you to have control over access to your ShareFile domain. As an example, you can restrict IP address ranges outside of your network. You can blacklist or whitelist a specific IP address to ensure that your ShareFile account is not accessed from any specific IP address. If you want to enable this policy, please contact our support team. SAM and single sign-on. The single sign-on is a feature that we have available here. So in order for you to use your Active Directory credentials or allow your employees to use them in order to log into ShareFile. If you're interested on having this feature, please reach out to our support or consult the resource that we have available.
All right, so let's get to the admin settings first. So in order to go there from your left panel, while you're on the dashboard or anywhere on the ShareFile, just click on Settings and then Admin Settings. Over here, we will have the basic information that the account administration will be able to access. So we have the admin view where you can find all the information regarding the access, the admin information, who's the owner of the account, and how the account is being used, the licenses. We also have the background operations. This is basically a place where you will be able to see all the operations that are on queue. As an example, when you're uploading or downloading something or syncing files. We also have the company account information here. We will have sections to go over the reporting, where you can actually get reports on how the account is being used, notification history, also where you can get more information on notifications there on ShareFile, and edit account branding, where you can actually customize your ShareFile page, login page, and even the emails that are sent through ShareFile. We also have the security option here, where you will be able to get more information on data loss prevention, right? The password requirements, where you will be able to actually set your own parameters. So as an example, you can set the minimum password length, how many numbers the password should contain, and how many special characters as well. At the bottom, you will have a summary on all the policies that you have just applied to your passwords. We also have the login security policy, where you will be able to set trusted domains, two-step verification, and account locked out verification. We also have the option to configure device security, where you will be able to set how the devices will be connected to ShareFile. So these are for advanced administrators to configure how securely do they want to have their users using the device. Finally, we have the edit super users group, and this is to allow some of the employees to have access to all folders account-wide, right? And it is important to note that this membership, it only applies to folders, not to account properties, right? Going forward, we also have the policy section, where you can get the policy management, and you can basically set up policies for group to be managed. So the different groups might have different policies, and you can apply and add people or remove people from those groups. We also have the connector section, where you can actually set up if you want to allow your users to have different connectors there working with their ShareFile account. Storage zones. This is in case that you have multiple storage zones, some managed by Citrix and others that you could manage locally or on premises.
All right, thank you, Jose. So now we'll go into the prerequisites. So when beginning to set up ShareFile, there are prerequisites to implementation. These are key considerations that you'll want to review before you start to set up the tool for your users. Our customer success team has built a prerequisite checklist to guide you through everything that you need to consider in terms of your storage zone, file security, compliance, and user management. So these are all of the technical prerequisites that you'll need to then start setting it up. You'll want to make sure to go through each step in the guide to make sure that you've considered your entire environment, and then you'll be able to go through the implementation guide that is also listed on our Customer Success Center. Once you have implementation, you'll be ready to go through the tool and make sure that all of the settings are correct. That's where we'll take a look at inside the tool. So first we'll go into folder structure. Jose?
Thank you, Megan. So yeah, the folder structure is very important to understand, because in ShareFile, in order for you to add users first, you need to make sure that you have created folders first. This is something that needs to be taken care of prior to start adding users. Now, let's discuss the admin settings. So for the admin settings, we have different other options than the ones that I mentioned. As an example, we have the background operations, which, as we mentioned, are where files are processed, will show their progress. Security, where the DLP will be configured. Policies will be where basically all of the group policies will be created to manage different groups. And the connectors, storage zone setup. All right, for admin advanced preferences, we have email settings, which will allow you to set how often and how the emails for ShareFile shares will be sent to the receivers. Also permissions, where you can set whether or not you will allow clients to share content that has been shared to them. Also, we have file settings, where you can set versioning and other settings that will be available for you regarding files. Enable ShareFile tools, where we'll be able to configure which applications will you allow to have your employees using, and also you will get there the configuration for the Outlook plugin. Folder templates, which will allow you to set a standardized structure of folders that can be used for employees and later be applied to any specific folder. Remote upload forms, which will allow you to embed link on your website in order to have your clients logging in there and sharing, uploading files directly to you. File drops, which will allow you to put a link on your website so that your clients can click there and select which employee do they want to share a file with, so they can upload a file there, and also the configuration for the Outlook plugin, as I already mentioned. We also have advanced configurations regarding the Outlook plugin, where you will be able to set default configuration for how the employees will use this tool on their computers. You will be able to set on a specific attachment policy, link insertion policy. You will see some link options there that you can set as default, and also you can change how the encrypted email will behave account-wide. Other of the advanced preferences that we have available is the folder templates. That is going to save you some time by standardizing folder structure across the account, meaning that you will be able to create a specific folder structure that can be later be applied to any of the folders that have been created within your organization. This is a great way to standardize client or team folders across the account.
All right, now let's see the advanced preferences. So in order to get there, first I need to go to settings, and then admin settings, and advanced preferences. All right, under advanced preferences, I will have different options. As an example, email settings, which will allow me to configure how the communications will be sent through ShareFile. So I can send here if I want to send emails from ShareFile directly, or if I want them to be sent from the user that is sharing the file. Right? I can also configure the SMTP server settings here. You will get the instructions over here by clicking on the link. You could also get the option to notify their users on their own activity, right? So employees or clients will be receiving a notification about the actions that they perform with ShareFile. Upload receipts is basically just to configure an option to allow whoever is uploading something to receive an email confirmation about the file that they uploaded. Here you can configure how often you will be receiving email notifications on ShareFile as an employee. So you can, put a little bit less minutes here as a notification, or you can also configure the default language. You will be also able to add a secondary email address here to use on ShareFile. We also have the permissions option over here. Basically, it's for you to allow clients to share files that you have been sharing with them, right? By default, this is set to no. We also have the folder access list, which is basically an option to allow users that are added to a folder to see who else is added to that folder. By default, this is set to no. File settings is where we can actually work on different settings like the retention policy. So if you want to apply an account-wide policy for retention, this is where you can put it there. By default, this is no. Sorting, if you want to change how the files are sorted out on your folders view, this is the place where you can set this as an account-wide default. Versioning will allow you to either disable or enable the versioning option that ShareFile has, and change how many versions will you allow to have for specific files. Storage quota, if you want to enable the storage quota for users, then this is the default value that you can set. And anything which is exclusive for users that are using the Office 365 licenses, this is just for them to be able to edit online using ShareFile. We also have the Enable ShareFile Tools section, where you will be able to configure how do you want the applications to work with ShareFile. And I'm talking about the applications that ShareFile gives you. So we have the desktop apps, for example, and we also have here the Outlook plugin. So on the Outlook plugin, if you go there, you will be able to set default policies that will be mandatory for your employees to follow. So you can even prevent user changes, meaning that they won't be able to change those defaulted settings that you have applied account-wide. We also have the folder template section, where you will be able to create a folder structure that can later be applied to any of the folders that have been created under your account, therefore saving some time by just taking over an existing folder structure and applying it. We also have the remote upload forms, which is basically going to allow you to create an HTML code that is going to be able to be placed on your website, where your clients should be able to go there and just upload a file while also filling out a form that can be customized by you. We also have the file drops, which is basically going to allow you to put a link on your website that is going to make it possible for your clients to upload a file and select to which of your employees that file should go to. And this file will go directly to that specific file box for that specific employee that they selected.
Great, thank you, Jose. So now let's go into licensing and managing employees and client users.
Thank you, Megan. So first things first will be creating employees. Now, in order to create employees, there are 3 basic steps that you need to follow. The first one will be to add the user information, and then basically make sure that this person email address is correctly spelled, because they will be receiving a welcome email to activate their own account. Now, the step 2 will be the user settings. User settings is where the administrator or the person that is creating this employee will have to set which accesses does this person have or will this employee have in their account. We recommend to set default values in case that you have doubts. Okay, and step 3 will be basically to set up the folder accesses. At this point, we will be able to either assign this specific employee or user to a folder. We will be able to add them to a distribution group, or we will be able to also copy access from an existing user in order to clone those access to this specific employee. Share file will allow you to have different ways to control who is accessing this content. So regarding that, we have to make a distinction on the ways that you can manage the account. We have master admins, which will be users that have been granted the access that allow them to manage other users and some account-wide settings. We also have the super users, which is a group that has access to all the other users' content. The membership to this super users group does not grant account-wide admin policies. This is only affecting folder-wise. We also have the distribution groups, which is an easy way to manage groups that to give them access to specific files and folders instead of managing them individually. It also works when you want to send out a specific file or request a specific file to multiple users instead of individuals. So creating clients, you will be able to create clients in order to add them as users, client users on your ShareFile account, and then you will be able to allow them in any folder with a specific access that you might be set later. A client will not consume a license, as you can add as many as you want to. The only ones that will consume a license will be employee type users. You can create as many clients as needed, as I already mentioned. And also, you can add clients to your folders and manage their folder and access activity later on. Clients will only be able to see share folders that have been assigned to them. Those are folders that they have been granted permissions. And they will be only able to adjust their login details as part of the only configuration options that they have available. Clients will not be able to create any personal folders or to work anyhow within the account administration options.
Okay, excellent. Now let's add an employee to this account. So the first thing that I will need to do will be to click on People and then Manage Users Home. Over here, I will have the option to create an employee. Now let's remember, every time that you create an employee, it's going to take one of your licenses. All right. The first thing that I will have to do will be to enter that person's information. All right. Once I'm done with that, I should be able to proceed with step 2, which is providing the user with the access that they need. So for employees, We strongly recommend to leave the default settings if you don't know what you're doing. But to give you a brief overview, you will be able to basically give them the rights to change their password, access their personal settings. They will be able to create root level folders in the share folder section. So this is important. If you don't want them to do this, just remove this option, which is given by default. They will have a personal file box, and we strongly recommend not to remove this one, right? Because it could affect other functions on ShareFile. You can see that down below, I will have the option to give them um, the way to manage clients, which is set by default, but also manage employees, which is recommended for people that will be taking administrative roles or other employees. They will be able to edit the shared address book as well by default, and you can even give them um, the access to change the account appearance, access reporting, and also get the billing information as well. They will be able also to be set with the option to create and manage their own connectors, shared port connectors and network share connectors if you want them to have that option. And on the advanced preferences here, they will be able to manage folder templates and remote upload forms. For this demo, I would leave it with default options. On step 3, you will notice that now here is where I can actually assign this person to a specific folder, add this employee to a distribution group, or if I want to give this employee the access, exact same access from another user, right? So you will basically be cloning access from a reference user. So let me just assign a folder to this employee. And then what I'll need to do will be to set what kind of permissions do I want this employee to have on that specific folder. So by default, every user that you add to a folder will have view, download, and upload access to that folder. So if you want to give them this access is okay, or if you want to give them further access, you can, just give them the delete so they can delete items from there, or the alerts if you want this user to be notified whenever something is uploaded or downloaded. To be able to have the download alerts, they must be admins. So if that's what I wanted to do, I just going to set that up. Click on done. And you see that now it says create and continue, which I'm going to click on. And right now I will have pretty much a preview on the message that this employee is about to receive, right? All I have to do will be to modify the message as I want it. And when I'm ready, I'm just going to click on notify, and this will send an email to my employee. Now, let's create a client user so you see how it works. So I can either click on Browse Clients and click on Create Client, or I can go back on Manage Users Home and create it from there, right? So, okay, this time I will be creating a client user. So you will to notice that step 1 is pretty much the same thing, right? You will have to enter that person's information. And you're going to notice that on step 2, there's a huge difference because for a client type user, I'm only able to change whether or not do I want them to have the ability to change their own password and access their personal settings. So these are the only 2 options that you can set for a client type user, right? At step 3, I can basically have them assigned to a folder as I did with an employee type user. I can add them to a distribution group, right? Or I can just clone the access from one of the other users that I have. So as an example, if I was creating a new client from a company that I've been working on, and I want to clone the access for another client user from the same company that I already have on my account, I should be able to do that by selecting that option. So for this demo, I'm just going to create this user without signing into a folder, to a distribution group, or without cloning any type of access, right? I'm just going to continue anyway. And you're going to notice that this is a preview on the message that this client should be receiving, letting them know that they have been added to a ShareFile account. So I'm just going to notify, and there you go. The invitation has been sent.
Great, Jose. Now let's go into reporting.
Okay, for reporting, we just need to take in consideration the different kind of reports that ShareFile will allow you to get. So these are either ad hoc reports or recurring reports. The reports will be based on different characteristics that you might want to get info about. So as an example, you will be able to get reports on usage, access, or storage details, right? The reports will be generated in Excel format or CSV files, and you can set them out accordingly. The ShareFile Data Migration Tool is a very useful tool that we have available, and it's basically going to allow you to move files from an on-premise location to your ShareFile account in the cloud. So basically, you will be able to select what data do you want to migrate from a local computer into the cloud, right? This works as for when you want to move big chunks of data, and also when you want to have a little bit more control of what kind of data is being migrated. As an example, you're going to notice that you will be able to transfer data plus permissions, and regarding the permissions, they can be mapped to either personal folders or shared folders. You will find more information on the how-to guide that is available on the resources.
Great, thank you, Jose. So now that we've come to this portion of our webinar, we would like to open up to any questions that may have come into the chat or any questions that you currently have. So please just enter your questions into the control panel on the right side of your screen. We're happy to go over any of the features again. We can deep dive into any specific features that you have questions on. We're ready to get started. So enter your questions, and looks like we have a few questions already.
All right, yep, looks like we do have a few. So Jonathan, to start, a question that came in is, can there be more than one master admin?
Hi, Grace. Thank you. That's a really good question. The short answer is no. So there is only one master admin that can be assigned to the account. And something that I wanted to share is that if you go here, a good way to check for that master admin on the account. So you go to admin settings.
Hey,
You
Jonathan,
can,
you may be muted if you are speaking right now.
oh, can you guys hear me? Hello, can you guys hear me? Hello? Hello, guys, can you hear me? Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you, Zachary, for confirming that you can hear me. Yeah, it seems like some other participants were having some issues. That might be corrected now. Okay, so going back to that question from Grace. So there can be only one master admin, right? And I was going to show you here on the admin overview. You can actually see who that person is. And as a good practice is that if you know that this person is moving to a different role or is moving out of the company, it is important to reassign that account owner to a different person. So that will be really simple. So you just need to go here to the admin overview and then click on reassign account owner. And here you can look for an existing employee that is already on the system, and you'll be able to assign that role to this person. So by any chance, if this person is not longer with the company, so you might need to open up a ticket with the support team, and there may be uh, some additional steps that you need to take in order to change the account owner for your company. So it is always a good idea to make sure that the account owner is the current and the actual person taking over the administration of the tool.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Jonathan. So a couple more questions that have come in. So we showed them how to actually add an employee or a client user. Can you show us how to remove one?
Absolutely, that's a really good question as well. Yes, as you said, we already see how we can create employees and clients. So the process to delete them from the system is something similar here. So you can go, first you need to decide whether you're deleting an employee or a client, right? So we're gonna start trying to delete an employee. And let's say that I don't want Michael to be on this share file anymore. So I can go ahead and click here on the edit options. And you will see on the right side all the actions that we have available to execute for this user. So you can email the login information again, you can disable the user, you can download it to client, and right here you have the option delete from the system. So once you delete from the system, I'm gonna do this for you. You'll see that there will be a prompt message here saying that you want to delete this employee. You can reassign all the files and distribution groups. So you just need to select a new user that will keep all this information. Or if you want to just remove the user and all the data, you just need to click here and it will give you the this warning, basically just two-step verification that we also want to delete the user and all the data. I'm gonna cancel here, and just wanted to show you the options that we have for a client. So again, you just need to browse for the employees and you have the action list. If you try to delete a client, it will be a little bit different. There are a couple of ways that you can do it here. So since the client doesn't have any additional permissions or files or folders, you can just click here on the box next to the client that you want to delete, and it will give you the delete selected option here. So you can click here and there will be just a confirmation, you continue, but as you see, you don't have that option to move the files or anything. Okay, and the other way, maybe couple more clicks here, it will be just exactly the same. Just click here on the manage. So you will see this screen where you see all the options now for this client. So you have pretty much similar actions as you do with an employee, and you have the delete from the system option right here.
Okay, perfect. So kind of on the same lines, we had some questions regarding if you can mass create users. So would you mind showing us how to do that?
Yes, that's a really good question. Yeah, so there are a couple of things here you can do. One of them is using something that we call the user management tool, that basically it will migrate your users from your Active Directory to the ShareFile account. But you can look for more information maybe on our documentation on how to use it. And another way to do it is if you go here to the Manage User home. So you can come here and select, for example, employee. And you'll have this option here on the upper right corner. So it says need to input multiple users with Excel. So basically this is a spreadsheet that you can complete. I'm gonna download it here for you. And on this one, you'll see there are a few columns that you need to complete with the user information. Okay, so let's just give it a minute to open. Okay. So as you see here, so this is the information that you need to enter on this Excel file. So you just need to enter the email address, first name, last name, and the company. So the password, as the best practice, is just leave this blank. So when the users get the notification email, they will be required to create their own password. So just leave this blank. Enter as many users as you need. Once you finish with this, you just need to save it. I'm gonna save this into my desktop. Okay, let me do this. Okay, so once you have that file, you just need to come back here to the you just need to come back here to the console and then just upload that file here to the system. So let's go back here on the desktop. Just look for that users list. Just click on open, import that users, and then you will see here that will be actually auto-populated here. You see an error, you can actually edit here from this list, and you can add another users, or if you see this is correct, you can just click create and continue. So let me just continue anyway. I don't want to assign any folders for them. And here you'll see that you can also customize that message that you want to send to those users. So I'm going to skip, but once you finish with all this process, you'll see those two new users that we added right here.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Jonathan. We just have 2 more questions in, so be sure if you have any additional questions that on the GoToWebinar console that you go ahead and enter them now. But one of them is, can you review how to create reports?
Okay, very good. Yeah, absolutely. So for the reports, so you just make sure that you are an admin on the console. Then you just need to go to settings, admin settings. And right here, just look for company account information, and you'll see the reporting option right here. Okay, so once you click on reporting, as you see, I don't have any report here right now. As we mentioned on the presentation, so you can go ahead and create a report right here on the spot and pull up information from the system, or you can go ahead and create a recurrent report. So you want a report to run like every week, every 2 weeks, you can do that here. So first thing that you want to do here is just click here on create a report. So once you'll get to the list of reports available on the system. So from usage, access, all this information, you can take a look. They have like a small description on what is showing here. So you see we have a good variety of reports that you can use. In this case, I'm gonna use the users report. So just highlight that report that you wanna use. You can click on next. And then here you just need to enter a name in case that you want to personalize this. So you can, I'm gonna just enter here something additional. So this will be Jonathan reports. So user report for Jonathan. You can, you have different options here to select. So you can select whether you want to do this just for employees, for clients, or for both. Same for the status. So I just want to make sure on the user that hasn't logged into the system yet, and you have some additional information here, whether they are disabled, if they're members of a shared address book, or if they have some policies assigned to them. Then here is the option where you can actually make this a recurrent report or not. So you just want to make no, you just want it one time, or you can click on yes, and this will give you the option to select like the how frequently you want this report. So you see, if you click on yes, it will highlight this option in next. If you click on no, it will just go ahead and give you the option to create. So just for the demo, I'm gonna set this as a recurrent report. So I'm gonna click. Also, you want just make sure that you can select whether you want an Excel file or a CSV file. I'm just gonna keep Excel. You click on next. So here is how you want this report to run, like every day, every week, every month. And also you just need to select or specify where you want this report to be saved. So I'm gonna click on demo. I'm gonna do create. And so you see here, it will give you some information about the last time that that report was run. So it was just a couple of minutes ago, where it's being saved, who is the creator of this. And really important, you'll have this menu arrow here so that you can manage to make some changes to that report if you want to modify that, or you can go ahead and delete in case that you don't need it. So once this is being run, you can, let's go back and let's look for that folder. So it was under personal folders, on the demo folder. And right here, you'll see the report that was run. Okay, I'm gonna just open this one. Let's see, hopefully it doesn't take a lot of time. So you can have a preview of the report. If you're using Office 365, you will be able to see it here, or you can actually download it and make changes to this online. Okay, I'm gonna go back. Okay, I hope that answered the question about reporting.
All right, perfect. Thank you. And looks like the final question that has come in this morning is, when receiving a file, is there a way to change the default in Outlook from the file box to personal folder instead?
Okay, thank you, Grace. Well, that's a really good question. So there are some customization that we can do to that Outlook plugin. I'm going to show you here. So it will be under the admin settings. So you go settings, admin settings, then advanced preferences, and we have here the share file tools. So under the share file tools, we have what is called the Outlook plugin. So here we have the option to do the configuration. So I'm gonna click here and you'll see all these options can be actually configured and be set as default for all the users. And also you have the option to prevent users from changes. So, well, this is for attachment policy. Then we have link insertion. So let's do, for example, link options. So you can, which one would we can change, let's say, maximum download. So we want to set this as a default. So the number of downloads, I'm going to just set this to 2. And I'm going to prevent users from making changes to this, right? So once I save this, this will be the default configuration on the Outlook plugin. Now, for the file box folder that you mentioned, there is no way to change it by default here on the plugin directly. That can be done on the Outlook plugin configuration. So let me go ahead and open here my Outlook for a moment, and I'm gonna open a new email so you can see how you can edit this. Okay, so you know that when you have a new email, so you see the list of actions that you can do with the Outlook plugin. So if you do the request files, you just need to click on this arrow and go to custom settings. And right here under, did I click? Yes, right here under custom settings. So basically you will be able to see all the configurations that we have in the plugin in the console, right? And the upload location, this is the one that you have to change here directly from the plugin, so you can actually change that file box to a different location. But that's the limitation, that you have to do this directly here from the plugin, because if you apply this by default to all the accounts, if you're selecting a folder that is not like a standard folder, so that might be chances that the request file doesn't work for some of the users. So that's why that is something that you have to do for, or that every user has to do by their own on the system. So you can actually select here, just go to personal folders, and I can select the demo, and I click on OK. And once I insert the link, that means that when a user actually log into this location, they will be uploading files directly to my demo folder.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Jonathan, for all of that, and thanks everyone that have submitted their questions. Just as a quick reminder, we do have the handout for the PowerPoint that we went over today. So on the GoToWebinar console, make sure that you go ahead and click and download that. And then just again, as a quick reminder, we do have these sessions bi-weekly. So if you'd like to attend the admin session again, we do have it in another 2 weeks. But then on Thursday this week, we do have an end user session as well. So feel free to join that or send any of your end users to learn a little bit more of the tools and functions of ShareFile. So again, thanks everyone for attending. We'll keep this up for just a couple more minutes just to make sure that you can access all of the handouts. But we look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Thanks, everyone.